Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday afternoon. I know everybody watching today because it's too cold for you to be doing anything else in the ATL. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and my sidekick, my partner in crime, and my brother, Tony. Tony been gone, and Tony been some places that I don't want to go. He said some things that I don't want to see. He was talking about snow, and Tony, talk about it. How you doing?
Yeah, good morning. Hello, everybody. Last weekend, I visited Ames, Iowa. My son graduated from Iowa State University, so I went up to his graduation. The weather that I experienced there is what we're seeing there. The only difference is they had ice and snow. It was cold. I've never been that cold before in my life. I've been cold. I spent several years in Oklahoma, but the thing that just got me is how comfortable the natives are in that area. But the other thing that I saw is how cold it is all the ice and snow. Was the river that runs right through Ames was frozen over, and I'm going, And the other thing about it is how comfortable people were. Is we had to go to one of the local stores to purchase some time for my telephone, and people were walking around in these clogs, these plastic clogs, no socks and shorts. And I'm wrapped up, overcoat, scarf, hat, and everything. And I'm going like, I guess they could definitely tell that I was not from there. But then there were a lot of us because I think there were a couple of thousand students that graduated from Iowa State that weekend. And so it was a busy weekend. But that weather that we experienced there last weekend is similar to what we were experiencing now. Yeah. The only thing that's missing is ice and snow.
Yeah, it is cold. But what you pointed out, Tony, is what we want to focus on today is community and how the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial is a project that's calling for unity in our community, in our county, and our state, and our country. You know, one of the things that I like to start off telling people that the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial is a divinely inspired idea that I came up with. That came up through me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes.
And it has been embraced since 2015 to the point, Tony, that we got a land space grant in Atlanta Historic Piedmont Park. We got a design that's so unique that people will be able to walk up to this memorial 24 hours a day. It's going to be unrestricted. There's no charge or no cost to you seeing this memorial. And what we're doing with the memorial, now these guys on this memorial, which will be 246 in total, are all from Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia. Atlanta and 8 other cities in Fulton County, Georgia. They were killed in Vietnam, each and every one of them. I was personally wounded in combat in Vietnam, and had some of those guys I went to high school with. Yep. And I realized that when we were going into the military, I left Atlanta, Georgia, off of Drummond Street, which is 2 streets up from what is now MLK, but it was Hunter Street then. Yeah. It was a totally segregated community.
Yes.
No white folk, nobody but black people lived in that community. Went to Ponce de Leon, went through the induction at City Hall, East 9, was the Seals building. And then the next day I was in Fort Benning, Georgia. In the barracks, I was not told that I was finna start living with white people, Hispanics and Native Americans. Didn't have any briefing, any notion that you're finna do something you never done before.
Exactly.
And nobody else ever done it in this country, so here it is. I was 20 years old. I was 20 years old, so I got a lot of bravo in me. You know, now I wound up going to Benny, basic training, and I met some white boys in Benny that we're going to be brothers forever.
Yeah.
Forever. You know, they didn't know what they was like, they never had an opportunity to actually sit up and shake hands and talk with, you know. Now I'm playing football with them, touch ball. I go and hanging out. It was a cultural learning school, a cultural learning school, in the middle of a war that nobody wanted. No, I mean, somebody wanted it, but you know, like I was talking about, beware the military-industrial complex, and we don't get there because only 1%, Tony, 1% of the population of the United States ever served in the U.S. military. So we are a minority, a very small, influential minority.
Yes. Yeah.
We serve in a way that we know what government is supposed to do. We know what people are capable of doing when they all work together. When they come together and work together for the same thing. We learned that in the military. And we learned it without any, you know, we all young enough to not, because nobody, I came back to the same segregated community I left.
Yep.
1 year later, I came back to that same community. And because of the protests of the war, because of all the drama going on with the war, and the civil rights movement at the same time now, just because the military was integrated, the rest of society was still segregated.
Yep.
We still had black, colored only, and white only signs in some major cities in the South.
Yep.
So this young generation, these people we talking about, our peers, Tony.
Yep.
And they were some amazing young people that was able to come out of racism into integration in the U.S. military and help build the greatest army on planet Earth today.
Yep.
There's no better army on military in the world than the U.S. military.
Yep.
It is the most integrated, it is the most diverse part of our society, and it's the most effective part of our society. You know, they get things done when they need to be done.
Yep.
The way they don't look all that good sometimes because they are really controlled by politics. You know, we look at these young men going to fight and die in Vietnam was from all over the United States. So we got a national memorial for them. You know, we got a national memorial. We actually got a state memorial. But not in my hometown do we have one for the guys that are from my hometown, specifically identifying them to their communities. You know, to the high schools, to the families. Because every year, Tony, every year when high schools graduate, you still got part of that 1% going out of these communities into the U.S. military. I'm proud of it because, see, everybody that's cold, you see how I'm home, man. See, I learned that in the military. This is what you wore in Fort Lewis, Washington. So you talking about the weather, you know, and this is where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
The military has prepared a way for us to climb up economically because what happens, Tony, with military service, after you finish good military service, you got benefits. Automatically. The same day you get out of the military, you can start the school. And know what? They pay for the school and they give you a little stipend to go to school.
Exactly.
I got a bachelor's degree out of it with some master's or two. So it's a good stepping stone out of that. And I was the first man in my family to graduate from college. But because of the military. You know, the benefits I earned in the U.S. military. So what I'm trying to get people to see is that it's time for us to understand why we want a local Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial. Because we want to bring these communities together for the good of the community. One common good. We got too much violence. We got too much crime. We got too much lack in our
Yeah,
communities to honor these guys just by setting up a memorial in the park.
Yeah.
It got to go in their communities. You know, it has to reach people in the community. It has to touch the people that they died for. See, what we got to realize that military service, everybody go in the military, don't go to war.
Exactly.
But they are on orders to do whatever needs to be done for the war.
Right. For the country. For the country. Yes.
You know, so I want people to understand that they're one military. 5 branches, well, 6 branches now.
Yep.
But I'm going to talk about the 5 branches right now because those are what we've been dealing with when we started this journey. And we're not disregarding or disrespecting the new branch of the military. I don't want nobody to say that. I don't want nobody to think that because these are all young people serving us.
Yes.
All of them serving us. They taking orders. You know what they do? They just pick. And I'm gonna tell you something about the military. They're the best at equipping those with the aptitude to do the job that they need done.
Yes. Yeah, you're right about that part. When you go in and they begin to evaluate you, they have an idea based on your skills and your knowledge as which area within the military the country can best use those talents. And once they do that, they can specifically train you for specific areas.
Yeah, that's what makes this memorial, this memorializing experience we're talking about gonna be so successful because we're using the skills and experience of veterans to organize a all volunteer
yes.
in our communities.
Yes.
In that spirit.
Yep.
In that spirit of service. See, you know, one of the things that we have to understand, we got a democracy so that we can grow.
Yes.
See, an autocracy, you can't grow, dictator own you. You're owned by somebody that got you in a box.
Yeah.
You know, but in a democracy, we can have a Barack. You know, we can have a Kamala Harris.
Yes.
You know, we can have this sister that just got on the Supreme Court.
Yes.
We can have all of these things.
Yes.
You know, what has happened because we haven't confronted racism as a enemy of humanity. Brother Williams called it a disease.
Yeah. Yeah.
He called it a disease, and I'm gonna see can we get him on the show. He called racism a disease that infects everybody it touches, whether the color of your skin or not.
Yeah.
See, we got people that are black that become racist because of the hate that they experience, because they experience it. You see, it's contagious.
It is, yes, yes.
But these young men, Tony, from our hometown, from I had 5 from Washington High School. You had some from your high school.
Yeah.
See, these are folks that we know that paid the ultimate price for this democracy, and we need to honor them.
Yes, yeah.
We need to honor them by showing people how it works. Coming together, we're going to address these problems in our community. There is no sense in us having automatic weapons in the streets of Atlanta. First of all, I think it's a betrayal of our police departments.
Yes.
To have our young officers that's serving in the community to protect and serve being put up against that kind of
firepower.
Yeah, yes. That's wall stuff. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's wall stuff. We got to make sense out of a sensitive situation.
Yes.
This is a sensitive situation. We got to be able to take the military experience and the military sense of you know, I preach. I'm a preacher. Let me go.
Okay.
Let me just do this, but I want everybody to understand this. My faith is having faith. And you know, I read in the Bible, and this is like in Matthew's the 8th chapter, 5 through 13 verse. The Master, the Savior, was doing what he first came here to do to show people how to live together. And he was healing folks of all kinds of different things. And this centurion came to him. The centurion is a soldier.
Right, yeah.
And he was telling Jesus, "Hey, Jesus, I got one of my folks that's in bad shape. I need some help. I need you to come." Jesus said, "Okay, I got you." And he said, "Wait a minute, Lord." He probably started thinking about the firefights. And he said, "Wait a minute, Lord. I'm not worthy that you come under my roof. But just speak the word, and it will be done."
Mm-hmm.
See, that's sometimes we don't know the power of the word.
Exactly.
We have to take that faith to work in our communities. And I believe that we got enough veterans and other people that are not veterans that are going to become community soldiers to address these problems, that we won't have to be scared to go to the store anymore. Mm-hmm. We won't have to be, people just getting killed in the church.
Yes.
In clubs. Our children go have a party and they get killed. Well, listen, in their spirits, in their spirit service, we're going to stop all that. We're going to change that environment. Because we know what an environment looks like when people are working together and living together. Go on the military bases where you got families, all these diverse families.
Yes.
They live together, they work together, and they prosper together. Yeah. We need to start looking at what they do and try to mimic some of it.
Yeah.
So try to mimic some of it, because it's a good thing. And honoring our homeboys, these 246, we're going to teach our community that value. Yeah. And then we're going to let the governments know that we need to bring our benefits back to the community we came out of. Yeah. We want those, because if those benefits are rightfully distributed to where they're supposed to be, you wouldn't have no homeless veterans downtown. You wouldn't have no homeless people downtown, period. Yeah. See, we got enough resources, but the 2%ers are dictating how we deal with it. Mm-hmm. Because why? They got control of it. Why they got control? We gave it to them. Yep. I just want us to get this kind of straight, because I want people to understand why we feel so passionate about the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial Project. It's not just we building a monument in the park. We're bringing these young men's spirit back home to their community. Yep. That's what we're doing. So we bringing their spirits back home to their community to change the community, because it wasn't like that when they left.
Yes. Yeah.
When I went in Vietnam, I wasn't no homeless veterans in the city of Atlanta. There wasn't no homeless people, Tony.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Unless they chose to be.
They was all them hobos.
Yes. Yeah.
They were traveling.
They
were stationary. Yeah. There were no tents up under the bridges.
No.
People standing up begging for food every day on the streets of Atlanta.
Yep.
We should be ashamed of ourselves.
Yeah.
All this construction, all this wealth that we have, we got that stain on our spirits. It's a stain. And the Sons of Atlanta Project, Tony, I'm going to let you go and talk about it now a little bit.
Well, I'm going to pick up on one of your topics, the very last one. You mentioned about all the progress that's being made, which is good. It's really good for the city. However, a program that the Republican Party pushed while in control was trickle-down. Trickle-down economics. The trickle-down never happened. It trickled down from the 2% down to probably the 15 to 20%, but it didn't go any further. But that was a political ploy that they put on the American people to encourage them to elect their officials.
Look at what Malcolm called the plantation economics.
That's it. Yes. And so those people that work the fields never benefit from the products they produced.
Yes, also.
You know, and there you have it. You know, they saw this plan and they worked it to perfection. You know, this was something that happened in the past, and they said, "Oh, that worked," and so now they're trying. They're doing the. Now, I was going to say trying, but they're doing the same thing now, and we find ourselves in that same situation now.
And the drive, Tony, is to stop this democracy from its growth.
Yeah.
You know, because see, this is the biggest threat to them. Because look at all the billionaires being created by this money. So
Right.
that cuts into the 2%.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we need to keep our eyes on this reality, because what they done made it is all about the dollar.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And who got the biggest dollar?
Yep.
You know, who got the biggest dollar? That's the person that everybody trying to be like.
Yep.
And look what being like that got us.
Yep. Really.
See, we gonna have to get veterans talking to veterans, Tony,
Mm-hmm.
and us talking to community, because see, this is our community, and we got some solution to some of the problems.
Yes,
that we got in the
yeah.
community. We got a solution to all the problems, really.
Yep.
You know, I go to something that's very biblical. They say, listen, and you can see the worst problem we got in our community is the way we treat each other.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And the word that I started to say, turn away from your ways, back to my ways,
Mm-hmm.
and I will heal the land. It's simple.
Yes.
His way is we should love each other. I want for you what I want for myself.
Yeah. But that is not always the situation.
That's not.
You know,
That's not
yes, because what I want, unfortunately, we have greed. And that is, yes, you know, it is, and as the people with gain more, they want more. And unfortunately, they don't have the idea that if I gain more, then I'm going to bring along with me. No, it's all about personal greed. And therein is a challenge where we find a lot of portions of our community challenged with progressing.
And with not only that, Tony, you pointed out, so this is the seed of the vision.
Yes.
That they
Mm-hmm.
got on
Yeah.
us in our
Right.
community. This
Yeah.
is the seed. You're talking about the very seed of the vision that stop us from working together. But in that spirit,
Yeah.
in these guys' spirit, see, we're gonna keep focus on them, because see, they start looking at me and you. They use the media to, you know, like they tried to do Dr. King. You know, they go discredit you.
Right,
Every
yes.
time but they cannot discredit these 236
Yeah.
young
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
Ain't no way they gonna discredit them.
Yeah.
They came out from these communities, and they served in a military
Yes.
that was fully integrated,
Mm-hmm.
and they did well.
Yes.
They did well, because what come out of that, even though it didn't blossom into the greater society the way it's going to, should be,
Mm-hmm.
it did in the military. And in this military, it's such a beautiful picture for me to watch. I got a grandson still. Let me just salute Freeman. Happy birthday to and all the rest of the young people that's serving in the U.S. military.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, we want to encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing, because you're doing it the right way.
Yep.
You know, we're doing it the right way for the right cause too. Don't let nobody fool you, because you know, when I was in Vietnam, we had propaganda to tell us it wasn't under my wall.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it wasn't under my wall, but I'm a U.S. soldier. It is my wall.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, so don't let the propagandists get up under your skin. And don't let the racists worry you. They'll all disappear one day.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about the racism.
The racial the attitude of that attitude will eventually diminish to nothing. Now there will be portions that will keep it there,
Right.
because that is one way of their exercising their control. But as the majority realizes that it's a falsehood, then all of a sudden it will lose its power.
That's what's happening in the military.
Yeah.
You see it at work. With your very work,
Yeah.
you see it at work in the military.
Yeah.
And over the generations, it has gotten better.
Yes.
We got a
Yes.
secretary of the Defense. Man, come from Georgia too, brother.
Yeah, right.
Listen, man, I want this democracy.
Yes.
And I know for an absolute fact that one of these people that I'm celebrating with one of my best friends, I know he wants this democracy.
Right, yes.
I know he died wanting this democracy.
Yes.
And I'm not going to stop working for his,
Right.
for him to be remembered
Yeah.
as that patriot,
Yes.
that had something to say about getting back home to the big PAs. We just talk about it. Come back home, get back home. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Because these young people came out of Atlanta, Georgia, East Point, College Park, Union City, Hatesville,
Yeah.
and none of these cities never did anything together, but we got them now.
Right.
They coming to Piedmont Park, and all their seals are gonna be there. All their names gonna be there. Now I'm hoping that they will, come on, step in and bring their seal, and bring, we're coming to the common good here.
Yeah.
We're gonna take these guys' memory, we're gonna take their spirits, and we're going back into the communities. We just want to gather in Piedmont Park so that we'll have an everlasting, permanent memorial for everybody to know what we do. So you can go, when people come to Atlanta, they'll know what we're doing.
Yeah. And that's important today because of this internet generation. They're not familiar with that past. And here's an opportunity to teach this new internet generation, microwave generation that wants everything now, of what sacrifices were made so that they can have the things that they're enjoying now.
All this freedom.
Yes.
See, and they shouldn't be, and they should know too that I'm gonna tell you something. They learned a lot too, by being in this society.
Yes.
They see, some of them see the changes and they want to change. Then you got a large part of the population that's still caught up in darkness.
Yeah.
They're still caught up in the darkness of the past and the hopes of the past, because some kind of way they perceive that as a power.
Yes.
Tell us how we can do this.
Therein is the challenge, is those people wanting power. And once they get power, they don't want to share it. They want to control it.
Listen, dictators,
yes,
that's what they do.
Yes, yeah.
You see, what we got to recognize, that has always been these two forces and how mankind was going to govern themselves.
Yeah.
It had always been the Russian Empire, where they had to reshape their stuff. With one time, they came through some stuff and they jumped in a wall that they got bogged down in too.
Yep.
Yeah. So what? But Tony, I just want to get people to reflect on this too. The same Russia I fought in Vietnam.
Yes.
They fought him in Afghanistan, and they got him now in Ukraine.
Yep.
And it's all been about the buck, the dollar.
Yes.
When are we going to stop doing business with bad businessmen? That's what I want to know. We got an economy. Now, we got an economy that was built on small businesses. What we have allowed to happen, these multinational global corporations have come in and made it convenient for us.
Yes.
We ain't got no corner store, grocery store no more, because we got Kroger's and Walmart.
Yes.
We don't want this convenience. So I can go there and get everything I want
Exactly.
at one time. But
And have it delivered to your house.
and have it delivered to your house.
Yeah.
Convenience.
Yes.
They got us wrapped up in this stuff so much that we don't know we cooperating with the enemy.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm not saying Walmart is the enemy, but I'm just talking about, why don't Walmart pay their people a livable wage?
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Why do these people that I go up there to Walmart, when I tell them I don't like certain ways they talk and treat me as a customer, they get upset.
Yeah.
Because they're not providing any training to them.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're scared of their job. They're on their job and they ain't getting paid what they need to be paid because the rent's high.
Yes. Yes.
This is Veterans Talk.
Yeah.
Kenny, it's good to see you back, brother.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had a week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe.
Yes. But God is good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear? That's good. Well,
Well,
Kenny, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
No.
Yeah.
Kenny is one of those Georgia veterans that we've been talking about that's been exposed to Agent Orange. And with his case in the VA, we now that the election is over, we're asking for an audience with our senators, and all of the state, congressional representatives in the state of Georgia to amend that law, because there's 700,000 veterans in the state of Georgia. A lot of them veterans are being denied benefits because that law didn't go far enough. We got to make sure that the PAC Act do what it's supposed to do. It's a good step in the right direction, but it doesn't cover everything that need to cover. So we want the Congress to revisit it. No, you don't need to change much. You need to just change that though. Acknowledge those spots that we know that Agent Orange was playing, and then we want you to look at all these military bases that's contaminated. It's more than Capitol Jones.
Yep.
Because our young people are serving on these bases today, and we want them to be safe. We don't want them to come back and years later they got some issues with health because we didn't take care of them when they were serving. This is Veterans Talk. So, Tony.
Yes. And this is Veteran Talk, and we want everybody to join us every Saturday from 4 to 5 with this particular broadcast. But also, this new generation, they're into internet conversations. And one of the ways we can do that is go to our Facebook page. Our Facebook page, Veterans Talk. And you'll see more about what we're doing, this memorial, information about the task force, and all the things that are going on. Also, a part of that internet generation is Instagram. And it's Instagram at Veterans Talk 1. Veterans Talk 1. Every Saturday, you can come on Signals Network and broadcast and see and watch our show. It's called Veterans Talk.
Veterans Talk.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's on Status Network and Status Network app. And you can also get us on Fire Stick and some others. Just come to Status Network and see all the places you can check us out. We want you to check us out because our sole mission is to give you information and empower you to do change, and be the change that you want to see in your community. We're not just encouraging this for veterans, we're encouraging it for everybody in the community. Because we know that the problems with violence among our youths is going to take a village.
Yes. And that's an interesting point. And as we sit back and remember when we were growing up, we had a village that helped raise us. I grew up in College Park, and between 54 to 65 and everything. And during that period, that community was black. It was a black community, but it was a close community. There was never a time when I was in that community that I felt comfortable doing something that would not have been appreciated by my parents or anybody else in the community, because I knew if I did something that somebody felt was not correct, that information would get back to my parents.
Same day.
Within hours. And the interesting thing about it is they didn't have a cell phone. Everybody had the house phone. And at one period, you had the party lines. Early on, you had party lines. So if you picked up the phone and somebody was on there, you'd listen, and you said, "Oh, you're talking to Miss Merritt. Miss Merritt, let me tell you what I just saw Tony doing." And that's how fast the information. You didn't have to have a cell phone, but if you had a phone, and that was a way of parenting that taught me how to respect my community, my family, and I knew back then that if I did anything wrong, I would be recognized. because people would say, "Aren't you Henry Mary's son?" And I knew then that it was a possibility that my little short life could end once the word got back to my father about something that I was doing. But it taught me how to respect the community, respect the parents, and respect other people.
And I'm glad you said it, because my dad had this thing about, I represented him.
Yeah.
And I want to know how I represent him, because you got my name.
Yeah. Yes.
You got my name.
Yes.
You taking my name out in the community.
Yeah.
Keep it straight.
Yeah.
And they meant that.
Yes.
See, one of the things that's happening now, Tony, we are so media-driven parents, media-driven parents, that we don't have a real bonding relationship with our children. They don't have a real bonding relationship with their children because they play with them.
Yeah.
And they don't know when they're playing or when they're serious.
Yeah.
And therefore you got a little boy that killed his mama because he wanted a game.
Yeah.
And then killed her, then we got the game.
Yeah.
We got to recognize where the problems at and what we're going to do about these problems. We cannot just leave these young men and young girls in the household where parents are not fully equipped to parent them and do it alone. We need to be the community need to be there for them. Yeah. They need to be there for them because that's what community is about.
Exactly. And the challenge that we see today, and you'll hear them say, children raising children. It didn't just start; it happened early on. But what those children that were raising children had grandparents that stepped up. A lot of them found themselves being raised by those grandparents. When that child trying to raise a child had challenging situations within her home. She could always depend on grandparents. You could always depend on aunts and uncles. We had a network, a family network that were a part of the training and the nurturing of these kids. And that's something that's missing today.
Well, they're so market driven also. We have to remember that now. We got parents, being made to believe that they got to buy their child a $300 PlayStation. Yeah. And they making less than $12
an hour. Yeah.
So you got all these things working on that parent that the community need to get in there and supplement.
Yeah, right.
What you were saying, my mom used to go down to my grandmama's house, right? Every Christmas, I know the boxes of canned food stuff. I mean, we're no canned stuff now.
Right.
Like jars.
Right. Yeah.
Canned themselves.
Home canning. Yes.
Yeah. They put stuff in, and they done have this stuff packed up ready for my mama.
Yep.
So she got all these children.
Yeah.
She going to get it too.
Yes.
And I thought about when I see that stuff happening at churches and stuff. Yeah. That's what families used to do.
Exactly.
That's what families used to do.
Yes.
But see, some kind of way they got in there and they started. And that's where the biggest strife's at in families. Yeah. Families can't do what they used to do together without drama.
Yeah. I can remember going to my grandmother's, Christmas, New Year's, whatever. Before we would leave, she would say, "Go to the smokehouse." And this was a house where they cured meat and everything. You go to the smoke and you get meat to take home. I can remember my parents saying, "Okay, we're going to go." And there were canned fused jars, mason, meat, all of this and everything. We take it home. The interesting thing about that was that we never had food poisoning.
Never had food poisoning and never ran out of food.
Never ran out of food. There was always plenty.
Always food,
if you were running low and so was your money, you knew that in most situations your grandparents had canned food there available for you. Yeah. And if not, the other thing we had was a sense of community. If we didn't have it, but the neighbors had it. If you need something, well, I don't have any, go next door. and ask whoever it is. You know, grandmama said, give it, and they would readily give it up. That sense of community that we were raised in, we don't see that now.
Well, we got to give it to. We got to be able to give this to this generation.
Yeah.
And the way to do it is to take the profit motive out of all these nonprofits in our community.
Yep.
We got to get back to listen. I'm not gonna work myself out of business or a job. So dealing with the homeless problem shouldn't be a business or a job.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Because it's then turned into an industry, Tom. This is an income industry for most of the people that's dealing with it right now. And it is shameful. It's shameful that we will allow that to become an industry. I worked at the VA, you got to remember that now. And I worked in mental health, so I'm in close proximity with the homeless program. And you know, I moan how it worked.
Yeah.
Because it generated homelessness. You know, it feeds the very issue that it's supposed to be trying
solving.
to solve.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
The profit motive got to come out of helping, Tony.
Yep.
We got to get that sense of helping back into the community, and you know, but now we got to do some stuff to do that. We got to go get people ready to understand what it takes to do that.
Right. Yeah.
See, that's a learning curve. That's what we're gonna be doing in the community centers.
Yes.
We're gonna have help centers, tutorials, you know, information, resources, you know, and assistance. People that are sitting up there because they volunteering to help you. They ain't on no job.
Right. Yes. Yes.
It's something that they come to do for the good of the community, the good of the people in the community.
Yep.
This way, I'm not against nonprofits, but I'm against a nonprofit that just make money like the NFL, you know, and don't give back to the community on the same level.
Right. Yes.
I'm against nonprofits like these colleges got these football teams making multi-million.
Yes.
You know, empowering the families of these kids that they're using to do it.
Yes.
See, the 2%ers got work. They working us in all kind of way, and we cooperating with it.
Yes.
We need to see how they working us and say, wait a minute now, we got to negotiate this. This has to change. It just has to change.
Yep.
And listen, if they change today where everybody in the United States income was at least $65,000 a year, and that's what it takes right now to live above the property line in this country, it would not hurt any of the billionaires. It would not hurt any of the billionaires to right now if they would allow that to happen. And they could wake up in the morning and do it.
Yes. But they're not willing to share.
You talk about the selfishness.
Yes. Yes.
And the more they get, the more selfish they become.
Yes. Yes.
They become like, I'm the boss, I'm the God, I'm in charge, I run it the way I want to run it, because it's the way I want to run it. That's not a democracy. And that's what you get when you don't protect your democracy. Yep. When you don't go vote. No, what happened when you go vote for the wrong person?
Right. Exactly.
So we want to be able to go into communities and help raise the community.
Raise the awareness.
And capacity.
Yes.
Because we bring in resources. We're going to make sure that those resources that was earned by honorable military service are in the community, where the veterans are.
Yep.
That who's supposed to be getting it. We got to stop acting like we don't know no better. We know better, we can do better. We got to be able to take the sons of Atlanta and cause a unity in this country that save it for the next 100 years.
Yeah.
You know, to save it for the next 100 years. Because see, we want your name on the memorial, Tony. We want to talk about that for a minute.
Yes. We want. Here's an excellent opportunity, and we talked about it in the past weeks. This is giving season. Christmas. here's an opportunity. If you have a veteran, or you are the parent of a veteran, or the sibling of a veteran, or the child of a veteran, here's an opportunity for you to make a donation to the building of this memorial by purchasing a commemorative brick with the name of that person on it, or your name, or your family name. But here's an opportunity for you to help build that memorial. You know, you're providing history. You're putting that veteran or the family of that veteran or your name into a permanent memorial that will outlast you and possibly even your family. And so all of a sudden, now you have an opportunity to become a permanent part of Atlanta's history. When family members come to town and go by that memorial, they're going to see those names on there. And if they do the research, which now you can on your cell phone, just pull it up, and you'll find out information about those individuals whose names are on those memorials. And so you should want your name on that memorial. You should want your family's name on that memorial. Here's a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can, I'm glad you can actually go get your cell phone right now and put in, go to your Google and put in sonsofatlanta.org.
Yeah.
Look at the faces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of these young men of all races and demographics in the Fulton County died before they was 21 years old.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They did not have the right to even vote.
Yeah.
So their service was purely about this democracy.
Right. Yeah.
Purely about this democracy. Because it was the law of the land that you registered, and there was a draft going on because they had a war and they needed bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They went. A lot of people didn't want to go.
Yep.
Left the country. The president pardoned a bunch of them.
Yep.
But there are thousands of Vietnam veterans, Vietnam era veterans right now sick because the Congress have not expanded the PACT Act in a way to cover the locations where they was exposed. Mm-hmm. The Sons of Atlanta is about that. That's what they're about. And that's what Tony is talking about.
Yeah.
You're putting your name on a history of servants.
Yes. Yes.
Of servants that paid the ultimate price for the democracy that we have.
Yep.
And what they're causing in that, what we're doing in their spirits in the community. This is what you donate to. You donate to give their spirits life work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I want to add that.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing about this, and you'll hear some people say, well, their name is on the memorial in Washington. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Their name along with 500,000 additional people. However, that's in Washington. And so what we want to do is we want to bring them home. As they say, I think it's a term used by the Marines, leave no one behind.
Leave no one behind.
You know, here's an opportunity that we yes, they're honored there, but we want to bring them home. We don't want to leave anyone's name in Washington, D.C. when we can have them home on a memorial in their hometown in Atlanta. You know,
and we're challenging everybody else across the country to do it.
Yes.
Because it makes more sense.
Yeah.
It makes more sense, Tony, because when I go to that wall in D.C., I guess because I know too many people on it, it's overwhelming.
Yes, yes.
You know, I can't find no peace with that. It's like all of this coming at me. You know what I'm thinking about? All these 58,000 young people died. Now, what can I do for them? Nothing.
Yeah.
Just stare at the wall and just have some empathy for them. Not honoring them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going down. It's more like a tourist thing.
Yeah.
You know,
and it is for a lot.
Yeah, it's more like a tourist thing. This is like an honor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's coming from their hometown. It's in their hometown. It's coming out of their communities. So we want people to do that and understand that this is what the Sons of Atlanta is inspiring is a movement. Is a movement to do better in our communities. You know, to do better. And their spirits. These young men got to learn how to get along with people that they didn't even have
Right.
knowledge of.
Yeah.
A few days before they got in the military. And they didn't cut up with it. They you know what, they stood up like young Americans and said, okay, hey, man, you know, we all here together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they started learning how we're gonna work together.
Yes.
You know, they started learning about each other and became friends forever.
Yep.
We're better together.
Yes. Totally better together. Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
we want people to understand that we are here every Saturday afternoon. We want you to follow us on Facebook
Yep.
and check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and Fire Stick. We want you to follow us. We want you to keep up with us because what we're trying to do is make sense out of a sensitive situation. When I say that, I'm talking about the plight of veterans in the USA and the USA and the way they deal with the plight of veterans. Right now, the Supreme Court is debating, well, they done already heard oral arguments on retroactivity of a claim, which means if the VA made a mistake in 1930 and the veteran got the mistake pointed out to the VA, they got a back payment to 1930. Well, you know, some people think that, well, that's just too much. But if they hadn't have made the mistake, they would have been being paid anyway.
Yes, they would have benefited that for the 30 years that they didn't.
And we got the Supreme Court debating whether they want to allow it
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
We got to vote. We got to keep our democracy. See, these 2%ers don't want to share nothing
Yes. Yeah.
that they think gonna elevate the rest of us. We got to understand that we are caught in this situation where we got a community today, and I know everybody's cold, but we got a community today that's grappled with crime in my hometown.
Yes.
My hometown.
Yeah.
You know, we got a young 12-year-old getting killed with gunfire,
Going to the movies.
going to the movies.
Yeah.
Something has got to change, and we got to change it. It ain't just gonna change on its own.
Right. Yes.
We got to come together as a community. We got enough resources, we got enough talents, we got enough knowledge, and I hope we got enough love to come together and address the problems in our community.
Yeah.
Because we can. You know, you can't just throw up your hands when you're in a firefight. You're in a firefight, you gotta fight back.
Yeah.
We're in a firefight for humanity with our children killing each other at 12 years old. Now, you got to think, you're not just talking about the one that got killed, we're talking about the one that did the killing.
Yes. Yeah.
We got to stop this stuff.
And one of the ways that we can do this is have our local government cancel this right to bear arms openly within our community.
And get some more sensible gun laws.
Yes, we aren't saying we would definitely not say take away the Fifth Amendment, the right to bear arms. We're not saying that. What we're saying is a sensible way of bearing arms. You know, a safe way of bearing arms, a common sense way of bearing arms.
And you know, the military teach you that too.
Yes.
You know, you got everybody's armed.
Yeah.
You know, but they're armed in the right way. You got to get you just walk around with your weapon.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, until we get to this point where we recognize that we can solve our own problem, what we're doing, we are electing people through a political system that's corrupt.
Yes. Yep.
When you take all this money to run for office, that's crazy. It takes millions of dollars to run for the office in the United States now.
Yep.
So that means we're cooperating with them selling us out like that.
That's it. Yep.
We didn't allow this to happen. If we don't take it back, and we got to take it back with the vote.
Right. Yes. Legally and enforceably by voting.
By voting.
You know,
and voting people in the office that gonna do the right thing.
That's it.
By
Yes.
the Constitution.
Right.
You know, we've got some people get in office like them people got on the Supreme Court said they go.
Yeah.
They got up there they took off the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They took off the road.
they took off the white hooded robe.
Yeah, put on the black robe.
Yeah, put on the black robe.
So we got to straighten that out.
Yeah.
We can't now. I mean, we try to keep it light to keep from crime.
Yeah.
We got issues in our community that we can solve. We can solve it. We got to have that faith that we can solve it because we got to change behavior.
Yeah, and it can be done. It's not like it's so momentous that we can't do it.
We went
It's
through basic training.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
We can do a 6 week basic training. Do a 6 week basic training.
Yes.
And get everybody on that same page, and crime would dissipate.
Yes.
Crime
Yes.
would go away.
Right. You know,
We just got to understand we got a lot of stuff that we could be doing.
the laws and the rules are there. It's willing to use those laws and rules for the benefit of the community. And therein is the challenge. Those people who are in control don't want to give up that control, but if they could only realize the fact it's for the betterment of the community.
Well, see, and the community has to decide whether they want them people to do that.
Yeah.
See, that's what we got twisted too. They work for us, not us
You're
working for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we might work to get them elected, but once they're elected, they're supposed to go to work for all the people. Everybody in the community, they need to be working for.
Yeah.
We got some politicians in our country right now that got a base. They don't do nothing but for what they should be doing. So
Yes.
that's not democracy.
No.
That's not democracy. That's taking us away from our democracy. And we need to recognize it because, listen, if the person that's going to do that with you, they'll do that to you.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. You know.
The person that do that wrong with you, they're going to tell on you or something.
Yep.
So we have to be mindful. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, you realize that all of a sudden those people will turn on you, you know. And the interesting thing now is we're seeing telltale signs of that in the previous administration, of the level of corruption that existed within that administration that stemmed from the top. You know, it's all about a person wanting control.
And
you know,
he gave them a sense that they could be a part of the control he had.
Yes.
He's one of the 2%.
Yes. Yeah.
Not
not realizing that he wasn't really going to share that control if that control did not benefit him. But for some reason,
he gave in the term said, he showed us this with William Saxby. Now you know I was not a William Saxby fan.
Yeah.
But William Saxby was the best senator that endorsed this man.
Yeah.
Gave up his Senate seat to become the Attorney General.
Yeah.
But because he would not sign off on this Russian thing,
yes,
he crushed the man and
yes,
killed his career.
Yes.
Crushed him.
Yeah. You know, not just that, the previous Attorney General from Alabama.
Yeah.
Because he would not buy into the program, crushed him also. You know, and therein is the challenge that we have with people who have that kind of power. You know, the sad part about that also was the fact that it scared a lot of other politicians who were up for election. If they didn't play his game, they too would be crushed. Yeah. And so all of a sudden we have this administration that is totally corrupt. Yes. Plain and simple.
Veterans Talk.
Yes.
We'll be back here next week doing the same thing we're doing this week.
Yeah.
Trying to make sense out of a situation. So come back next Saturday, same time, same place.
Yes.
Doing the same thing because they say if you keep doing it long enough, somebody will change.
Yeah, exactly.